Good evening everyone, and welcome to the first tutorial of the creation kit. Now, today I'm going to show you how to make something as simple as a fence. So if you need to do a fence over your backyard in this Skyrim, so in order to create something, I should suggest you to first make a new cell. You should just go to the world and then cells. Just go right click, new, and now type in whatever you want, but I suggest you to first add 1 because that's gonna put it on top of the list. So 1 test 1, click OK, and just leave it as it is. So now you have the test room, and as you can see, it's now shown at the top of the list. So now double click on that. Yeah, double click on that. We're in. So why am I doing this? The main reason is that you can rotate the things on the 90-degree angles to whatever point you need, and then just copy all of that and put it into the original location as you want. So in my opinion, what I like to do when making a fence, I just type in the stone block. So here it is, the Imperial stone block. You have 6 versions, and I'm gonna show you what they look like. So first version, you have the ice version, which for some reason is not selectable. When you click on it in the creation kit, you can't select it. You could do it like this, and as soon as you click here on the window, it's not clickable. So I suggest you to not use those if you don't have to. And yeah, we have one version. The second one, as you can see, this one is more flat and more longer than this one, so I'm not really using those ones. What I'm currently using is the version 1 and the version 3, because you can see how long and narrow this is. So you can use it to make it like a post. Just go like that, and you have a proper post. So now that we have a post, we could save this for later. But anyway, keep in mind that you have to make a gap for a gate or whatever you're gonna use as an entrance to your yard, and then just go with the theme you need. So let's say you are blacksmith and you want something to represent your profession in the way that everybody else knows that you're a blacksmith. So what you need to do is to go to statics, just select statics, and then go to the just make a new one. Type in the let's say corundum ingot static. So you have a new static. Alright, so just type in corundum, and it's shown as this, but it's still not completed, so you just go to all. Okay, so just double click on that. Okay, we'll rename it afterwards. Just copy the model. Okay, go to the corundum, fix it, click edit on models, edit. Now what's most important thing here is to go to the meshes. It's not going to work if you not click on the meshes. Just paste that, click OK, open, whatever, and then you have this. So what this is going to do to that, no, just click OK. So what this basically is going to do is to make this thing static, so it's not going to fall down to the floor and you can't pick it, so it's going to stay in place. And now what you need to do is to just go like this. You resize it to whatever size you want. I'm just going to move this later, and then place it where you need to be. We need it to be. Okay, so in my opinion, the best thing is to use the snap to grid and snap to angle. But once you get the right position, you can disable this to go like up and down and left or right, whatever you want, but it's gonna stay in place, you know, when you compare to these sides of the post. So now I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna copy that. Just go like Control D. So that's gonna duplicate whatever you want. And I'm gonna make 3 of those. Just put it right here. And then the second right there. Okay, and the one in the middle for complete look. So here it is. We have three bars. They're gonna look cool. It's almost like a golden piece. So just duplicate all 3 of those, move them around, just do it again, and now it looks way better. But we could do another one. So we have now 4 of these. You can always zoom in if you need to do some of the corrections, like I do now. So they're all even, they're all in the same line. You get it? So now we duplicate the post and then just move it like here. So now you have one segment of the fence, but it's just a simple fence. So you want to improve that. You just go back to statics and just type in the shields. So it should have some of the shields. So if you, it depends really if you're in the Whiterun or if you're in a town themed area that you need to put the shield with the logo of the place. Like for example, if you're in the Markov, you want to put the shield with the Markov logo on it. If you're in the Whiterun, same goes with the Whiterun. So let's say we're in the Whiterun. So we just select the Whiterun shield like this, and as you can see, it's flipped. So go back with snap to grid, get it like this, and make sure the logo is at the right position. So you can see the head is now in the proper position. So now we should move it like here, but as you can see, the snap to grid is not going to help us at all. So disable the snap to grid and then just move it a bit back. So now it looks way much cooler. And what's cool about this also is that the handle is going straight through these metal bars, and it looks like it's been made to go through that, or it's welded to this. So it really looks kind of cool. And besides the shield, now it looks way cooler than it is. You can also make that the same fence for both inside and outside. So if you want to have the same look on the inside and the outside, you can just duplicate the shield and then just move it a bit back. So now it looks the same from each side. Now if you want to add some more decor, you can do that by typing, let's say, sword. So you have a sword, you just pick the right one. So for a Whiterun, I'd go with the steel sword because they look cool. Yeah, they are. But you know, the problem with the sword is that it has this leather thing that you put the sword in, so we're not going to do that. We're going to try to go with the great sword, if it's not the same thing. And as you can see, it's not. So instead of sword, you just go with the great sword and it's sorted out. You can scale it down, you can scale it up, whatever you want. So just go with the rotation, rotate as you want. So in my opinion, the best one should be like this. So you can just go back to snap to grid in order to have the symmetry. So now we can just scale this down a bit, and just move it to the side, and just a bit down, or we can just rotate the sword back to original position and just go like this. We can just make the sword like going through the fence. That's what you wish. But the best option is to turn off the snap to grid once again. So let's go back to the original size to see if that's correct. Okay, so I think it should be correct. Yeah, it's correct. You can see now the sword has its handle completely free here, and we're just gonna duplicate this and make sure we have like the same distance from the posts on both sides, which are not symmetrical now. Well, I think they are now, but it might be a little more. Well, now they are. So now you have kind of a one-off fence. You could do with third sword. Don't like if that's gonna look cool, but you can experiment with these. You could just duplicate it and then just move it a bit round to check if it's looking good. In my opinion, yeah, it's looking good. So I might as well leave this one in, but I don't know if it's in the middle. So we could use a little more to the right side. Okay. Well, I think it's in the middle now. So here we go. We have a one-off fence segment. So what we want to do now is to delete this part here. Select it all. Go back. No. Don't go with the snap to grid. Okay. So we can leave that off. So when you select this all, click Control C to copy all of that, and then just go to the tamriel and just wait for it to load. Yeah, it doesn't respond sometimes. But anyway, you should go to the Whiterun. So when you finally find the Whiterun, you just go with the Whiterun exterior. Just go with the Whiterun exterior 1. I don't know where it's gonna end up. Well, let's take a look. Alright, so here we are in the Whiterun exterior number 1. Just turn off the markers with the M key. So yeah, this is right where I want it to be. Alright, so here we have the already fenced backyard. But anyway, I'm just gonna do it with the next door house, just like this one. Okay, so here we have a stall. That doesn't matter. We could just pretend that it's a house. So turn off the markers again, and then remember, type Control V. So now we have the segment that we earlier completed in the test room sol, and now with the snap to grid off, we could just move this around the way we want. So you just make sure that it's not floating like this one. So So just move it around. You can play with the ground once you set the fence, so that's not the big issue. But if you don't want to play with it, just turn off the snap angle as well, so you can rotate it more. So if you don't want to play with the ground, you can just make it straight at the position. You can just position it straight in place. So okay, you have that one. Just Control D to duplicate this and move this around. So go just like this, and you make sure that it's, you know, that it's welded together, so you don't see any gaps. And then just move on like this. Once you set the position, just zoom it in and fine tune it. Come on. It should look nice. So just wait a bit for it to load. Well, you know, sometimes the creation kit has a lot of problems, especially the 64-bit version, which they did for the special edition, which now has half things are not working properly. So for example, I tried to make a dialogue for a brand new character, which I couldn't complete because the 64-bit version is not having the record button functioning. So whenever I record something, it's not recorded in game, and the character just goes like this, staring at me, not talking anything. But anyway, that's not the case here. We're talking about the fence. So as you can see here, the fence is now floating, but if you don't want to play with the ground, you can just lower this bit, just like that. So I should have done this with the last bit, but I'm just showing you the options you have. If you want this to be to look like more realistic, you know, that you adjusted the fence to the ground, not the ground to the fence, which is more realistically in real life. That's what people do. And you have like the incline or else something. So now, when you want to square this over the actual house, you just rotate this to the desired position and then just go up until you find the best height for it. So what I like to do when it comes to the corners, I didn't just leave this like that. I go to align that with the edges, just like this, you know, so you have fine edges. You can't see that probably now, but if I just lower this bit here, now you can see what I was talking about. So you have this rounded, nice edge, and you know, it looks fine. So here you go. You have a nice fence, themed, one of a kind. Nobody else has it in Skyrim, so you can have basically whatever you want. You could play with the materials. You could do, you know, with the jewelers. I would suggest you to go with the gems, or you know, with the diamonds, something like that. The bracelets, circlets, anything that should be in the jewelers spot. So, but whatever you do, make sure you have that in the settings. Because if it's not static, it's gonna fall down to the floor and you're gonna find it ruined in the game. So if you do a lot of work, you should be paying attention to that, because you know it's a pain in the ass when you go into the game to check out the new fence and you find everything on the floor, you know, just sitting there, and that's a disaster. And the one more thing, I realized that some of the things are not having a proper collision. So for example, if you do this with the wooden bars instead of the metal ones, I realized they have no collision at all, so you can go through the fence. So what you do in that case, you just go turn on the markers and then make the collision, create a collision cube. So right now what you see is a collision cube that you can alter to your desired size, so it's not so wide. It should be the same width of the fence, so it's realistic when you hit it. It should be right where the fence starts. So you could do it like this, because the stones have the proper collision, but if this doesn't have a proper collision, you could do it like this. So when you go into the game, you just bump into the fence and that's it. Make sure you don't put it so high, because if you want to jump off the fence, and you can jump off the fence but something's stopping you, that's not realistic. So that means you put it too high, too tall. Anyway, that was all for the first tutorial. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please leave a like, join by subscribing to my channel and support me that way, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned.